affect animals if pollination did not exist?
Well, it starts from the bottom. Okay, if we didn't have grass, who eats grass?
Cows.
Cows eat grass.
Goats.
Deers, goats. What else?
Pigs, I think. Dogs.
Rabbits.
Dogs.
Okay. Okay. Well, no dogs. We don't want dogs to eat
Dogs
grass,
do eat grass, though.
but yeah, but they don't feel good. And then if you don't have the other bottom of the ecosystem, what happens to the top? Who goes after the rabbits and the birds and the mice and who goes after them? The eagles do. The predators, exactly. They have their predators, right? You have the eagles and you have what else? Hawks and
not scarecrows.
hawks.
Vultures.
Okay. Owls.
Owls.
Right.
Vultures.
Right. Okay. And so then what happens? What's the next? Then you have vegetation. For if we do not have vegetation, then we'll die off. We can't eat, right? Right?
What is that?
Okay. Vegetation. It's good for vegetation. Without bees and pollinating, we will not have. We won't have farming. We won't have any tomatoes. We won't have corn. Think of all anything you see, vegetables. Okay. We will not have that if we do not have pollination. Okay.
How do you think animals will react to no pollination?
So animals wouldn't necessarily have a direct impact, but let's say we have a mole. So the mole wouldn't necessarily have a direct impact, but it's an indirect impact because the mole eats the hay. So if there's no hay, the mole would definitely, so he wouldn't notice that there were less bees, but he would say, wait a second, why is there no hay for me to eat? And then the mole would die, and then the snake would die because there's no moles for them to eat. So I think that there wouldn't necessarily be thought process like, oh, there's no more bugs. They would definitely see the effect and feel the effect on their bellies.
Like pollination did not exist.
Okay, were we recording?
Yes.
So if pollination did not exist, in some areas it wouldn't make as much of a big deal, like in the tundra when there isn't a lot of plants. But like in Michigan, if we had no pollination, then we'd have no more flowers, we'd have no more food, we'd have no more of anything. And without the base of our trophic levels and no producers, then there's nothing to eat the producers. And if there's nothing to eat the producers, then there's nothing to eat them. So the whole food chain would collapse without any pollinators to pollinate our plants. So even if some plants could self-pollinate, there wouldn't be enough to sustain human populations or animal populations. So in vast ecosystems like ours, where there's lots of plants and animals, it would be a very devastating effect.
Go.
What do you think would happen if we stopped pollination?
I think everything there wouldn't be food to eat, the crops wouldn't be complete, like you need pollination to survive.
How do you think climate change affects pollination?
I think it affects it in a negative way. I feel like there's less, I think like the chemicals, which also are contributing to climate change, kills some of the species that the pollinators like to feed off of.
How do you think the other ecosystem services would be if we got rid of pollination?
Terrible. I think pollination, is important for all ecosystems.
Okay. What do you think would happen if we stopped pollination?
We would all die.
How does pollination help us?
It basically helps take care of all the plants and helps the production of food and just basically helps keep things flowing in life. So yeah.
How do you think climate change affects pollination?
Well, climate change affects like our natural resources and our environment. So if we lose our resources, the trees, the bushes, everything like that, I mean, flowers, like it will drastically change a lot of things. So
Last question. How do you think the other ecosystem services would be affected if pollination started to decrease?
Well, there's lots of bugs and animals that eat plants. So without plants, then those animals die. And then when those animals die, then you have the other animals can't eat the other smaller animals to stay alive. So it basically just works. It's a chain reaction of events where just everything slowly starts basically fading away because you can't keep the food sources open for everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
How is pollination affected by human activities?
Well, I mean, as we, part of that obviously would be our spreading of seeds through, disturbing plant life. Part of that would be us also destroying plant life and building on top of it and creating dead spaces for it. But more so, I think that our natural movement through areas where seeds and things of that nature can be disturbed just by us disturbing it. We're spreading that pollen as we move.
How do you think climate change affects pollination?
I'd imagine climate change affects it the same way that it affects most wildlife or plant life. They can only thrive in certain environments, and as things get hotter or colder, depending on the area that it's in and what the temperatures are, it can cause plants to die. It can create breeding grounds for new plant life or completely stifle out entire ecosystems.
What would happen if to the other ecosystem services if pollination just disappeared?
And get kind of a circle life type of situation. Everything is connected. So plants can no longer be pollinated, and they're no longer able to thrive. And then things that fed off those things would then also die out, which would kill the things that fed on those, and so forth. Disruptions at the bottom will cause ripple effects all the way to the top.